Welcome to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Bike Week Radio Show with six-time AMA champion and Motorcycle Hall of Famer Broc Glover, Bobby Wooldridge, Paul Carruthers, and Scott Cox.
Alrighty, welcome into Bike Week Radio Show, the podcast edition. We're up here at Scott Cox's offices in the wonderful air-conditioned offices, might I add. Scott Cox is here, Epic Phil Kottner is here, and as you can tell, we've been on a brief hiatus, but don't worry, we haven't forgot about the Bike Week fans, and we didn't want to leave you guys in the dark, so we wanted to do a special behind-the-scenes podcast to let you guys in, and we'll also pitch to maybe some of our best of stuff. But Scott, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, we took a little break, as you mentioned there, Bobby. We're probably going to continue with our reset. We've had some new plans in the works that we're pursuing vigorously right now, and wanted to thank everybody for reaching out to us for your concerns. We're all healthy. We're all happy. Mm-hmm. We're super busy. I think today, Broc might be over at Farley Castle in England for an annual big vintage Motocross of Nations event.
Night Glover.
We were there. Yeah, exactly. He'll be knighted again. And Paul is wrapping up the first season of his Moto America road racing series. So we're pumped to see those guys next week. We'll probably session back in with another little podcast over the next 10 to 14 days. But bottom line is, we're good, and we have every intention of re-emerging, hopefully sooner than later, with a similar but new and reinvigorated Bike Week Radio show.
Indeed, and obviously there's so many people to thank over 3+ years.
3+ years. Yeah.
Over at our previous station, but it's sort of like dog years. I mean, those anytime you make it a year in radio, it's impressive, and 3 years is an incredible run. But we are moving on to the next chapter, and we will keep you guys posted for that when it happens. But you can still follow us on the Bike Week Radio Show smartphone app.
Yep, I will continue to update that thing weekly with some show deals, with best of audios from different interviews over the last couple years. And then you can also log in and sign up for the Riders Club. And this way you'll be the first to know what's going on with the show.
And we'll continue to solicit your comments. We appreciate them. Those of you who are sending emails on a daily and weekly basis, we pay attention to them. We respond to you, and we love your input. And look for us at races and events. We got some big events coming here during the month of September. Got big international United States Grand Prix. The FIM Motocross Series is hitting Southern California in a matter of days. We'll be out there talking to some of our friends and grabbing some interviews.
We're also going to be bringing back up the Moats Cup, too.
Yes, we will. We spoke to Zach Osborne, who won the Marty Moats Cup at the 2010-2011 USGP at Glen Helen. He was in the Dominican Republic yesterday.
Yes,
He's there today. Little R&R. And we will be awarding that Moats Cup to the top American finisher, regardless of class, at the Glen Helen USGP in just a matter of days. I think it's in 2 weeks.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to talk to, obviously, Broc when he gets back from across the pond. And I want to talk to Paul. I met with him earlier this week. I didn't realize that Paul got in pretty late to the game of Moto America, and they threw together that series in a matter of weeks and months.
Yeah.
Putting together an entire series. And so Paul, I know, is excited for 2016 when he gets a full year to actually prep and prepare and has a better idea of what they went through.
With any new racing series, they're visiting events. They're putting their series together, which they did a wonderful job of under the guidance of Wayne Rainey, just a fantastic, hardworking individual with probably the best set of credentials to head up a road racing series here in the United States. And with Wayne and Chuck Axlin and the guys that Moto America has in their core group, they've had a hell of a run this year, and I'm really, really looking forward to not only watching the coverage on television, but talking to Paul when we're together next time to just get some of the season-ending highlights and also a little preview about what's going to happen with Moto America in the 2016 season. We'll also be doing that with Broc.
Mm-hmm.
He's working when he's not in England with the Queen and racing vintage motocross bikes at Farley Castle. He is working daily on the upcoming 2016 motocross season and supercross season, getting ready for the Anaheim opener at Angel Stadium. We'll be there.
Always a fun time.
Always a fun time. And
with licorice.
Without a doubt, yeah. Endless. Those of you who have come by and spent time with us, we'll be bringing 3 times the amount of licorice and snacks this year, so please do come by.
Courtesy of the Cox family, so thank you to you and Pat for providing the licorice as always.
You got that. And there's a lot of, we're in silly season, just like in stick and ball sports. I mean, in motorcycle racing right now, we're kind of in silly season, so there's a lot of new teams coming on, some rider changes, and it's the kind of stuff we just thrive on and our listeners enjoy interacting with us on. So stay in touch with us. We'll stay in touch with you. Look forward to more social media posts that our buddy Epic Phil here.
And now's a great time, too, if you want to interact with the program of things you want to hear in upcoming shows. Now's a great time for us to try to track down some interesting, fun guests, or if you guys have some cool stories, we'd love to hear them, because now's a great opportunity as we line up for the next venue and next venture. We can definitely get some stuff done. And
with 3+ years of quality interviews and a lot of fun shows, it's been interesting for us to go back through our archive and remind ourselves about people that we've been able to connect with and interact with, and we're looking forward to more and better as we approach 2016.
We should also thank our sponsors, Geico, who've been here since day one, Russ Brown Attorneys, who've been with us for...
Yeah, Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys, they've been staunch supporters, and it's been fun to have the Coros, Chuck and Wendy Coro, in studio with us. And
then also Brett over at El Cajon Harley Davidson. Really appreciate those guys coming on board, too.
And thanks to our behind-the-scenes team, Pat Osborne, Gene Turner, Pat Cox, Robin Askins, and friends and family who keep us motivated, help us put great shows together, and make sure that the boat keeps floating here at Bike Week Radio Show. Indeed. Well, with that in mind, let's pitch to one of our favorite interviews. This was, I think, in the first year of Bike Week Radio Show, when we talked with Billy Morrison, the guitarist for Billy Idol. Yeah, and quite a motorcyclist himself. And we get we opened it up for some phone calls at the end, too. And we get a few phone calls on Bike Week Radio Show, mostly from the male demographic. I think when Billy came on, this is the most female calls we ever got. Yeah, without a doubt. They were stacking up. Yeah. He's a rock star. Yeah, what do you expect? Comes with the territory. Well, here you go. Here's our interview with the great Billy Morrison. Let's head out to the hotline right now, where we have our superstar, Broc Glover, waiting, and also our second superstar now, Billy Morrison, rocker, actor, radio host, a real entrepreneur, a man does everything. Billy, thank you so much for joining us on Bike Week Radio. My pleasure. But the word superstar is really overused. No, don't be shy. Yeah, I think superstar doesn't even encapsulate everything that you've done, my friend. And we love the fact that this is truly a motorcycle show, but we love talking to guys who go beyond sports, motorcycle, but are doing stuff as well as that. We've had Lyle Lovett on, and now we've had our second rock star on, and Billy Morrison right now is touring with Billy Idol. And first thing I got to ask, man, what's it like being on tour with Billy Idol? It's pretty much exactly what you would imagine. I mean, Billy Idol's the consummate. I mean, he's an icon. That guy is a superstar. He's the real deal. And if you indulge your fantasies about what it might be like to stay in the finest hotels and play huge arenas with Billy Idol, that's exactly what it's like. And I'm a very lucky guy.
Where were you this week, Billy? This is Scott. Catch us up. Catch us up.
This week was Camp Freddy week. That's the other band that I'm in. It's been going about 11 years. I formed it with Dave Navarro and Matt Sorum and Donovan Leach and Chris Chaney, and we were out. We did a gig in Santa Monica. Then we flew to New York and did a gig at the Bowery in New York, and then we flew to Austin and did a gig in Austin.
Awesome, and I know Camp Freddy, having been there myself and enjoyed a few of your programs over the last couple of years. I was telling the guys before the show that they're unequaled. There's nothing like it. You never know who is going to show up on stage with you guys, and it's not unlike a very chaotic a GP. If I put it in motorcycling terms, it's something it's big. It's like hanging out with Valentino Rossi and Wayne Rainey and all of your MotoGP heroes or your motocross heroes like Broc Glover and Brad Lackey all at one time in one evening, and it's totally mind blowing.
It is mind blowing. It's mind blowing for us too. The reason you never know who's going to show up is because we don't either. So it's chaos from start to finish. But what's interesting about that is that we have had quite a few racers that have developed a taste for Camp Freddy. I mean, Ben Spies is a fan and has come to a couple of shows, and I invited Dustin Dominguez, the AMA guy, down to the Austin show. I got Alan Lane, who runs an amazing magazine, Sports Bike Inc. magazine. He was in New York, brings all his biker friends.
Great interview in there, by the way, Billy.
Crossover.
The Sports Bike Inc. We read that story, fantastic, and I understand Chris Fillmore had a hand in that, and it was pretty interesting to catch up with you. And our listeners are very interested in not only your professional side as a rocker musician, but tell us about your life riding motorcycles.
Well, it's been my whole life, and only now am I managing to achieve the kind of crossover that I want. Because, as you say, Chris Fillmore, Sports Bike Inc., Ben Spies, Dustin Dominguez. What I'm trying to do, the general public's view of rock and roll and motorcycles tends to be, shall we be kind and say, an overweight guy with a beard and a Lynyrd Skynyrd patch on a Harley. Now, love those guys. There's a great American niche for those guys, but the reality for me is that I'm riding with, Steve Jones from the Pistols and my boss, Billy Idol, and, Duff McKagan's out there and Danny from House of Pain. We're riding European sports bikes. So a few years ago, I was, my background, my dad he was a semi-pro. He raced the Isle of Man TT a couple of times in 59 and 61. And my uncle's Barry Ditchburn, who was a Grand Prix rider in the 70s and 80s for Kawasaki. And I grew up on motorcycles. And a few years ago, I started thinking, this whole rock and roll and motorcycles thing, they're born to be hand in hand, but I'd like to get a modern day picture of it and present that.
Sure.
European sports bikes and the rockers going to the races and the racers coming to the gigs, and it's slowly starting to happen.
So it's safe to assume you don't have clauses in your contracts as a professional artist musician akin to what the the players in the NFL or your National Basketball Association or Major League Baseball. They've got those stay the hell away from motorcycles clauses.
Of course I have. I just completely ignore that. I mean, I do track days and, I just ignore that. We're only here once and we're here for a very short time. So I intend to enjoy myself.
Now, Billy, this is Paul from Cycle News. I think
Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing real well. I think it's interesting that, like you said, there's a lot of so-called stars that ride motorcycles, and you're accurate in the portrayal of most of them maybe ride Harleys and stuff. But I think it is interesting that you actually go to the track and you ride sport bikes at the track. How many sport track days a year do you think you do?
Not enough, because
it's never enough, is it?
Schedule is pretty hectic. Last year I did 3, and that's me squeezing them in between touring legs or movies or whatever I'm working on. But over my lifetime, I've spent enough time on a track to know that I can go fast and I don't need to on the street.
Right.
And that's the primary objective from a track day for me, is to get out. You know, when I was 18, I was riding, I was riding FZR thousands through the streets of London on one wheel.
Wow.
And suffer the scars and bruising and broken bones to prove it. So I need to get that stuff out of my system.
But I heard rumors from mutual friends of ours, Billy, who says you still cruise around Sunset Boulevard on one wheel. You're just not, you're not crashing as much, apparently.
The LAPD aren't listening, are they?
No. Even though Charlie Beck is a friend of the show, and I think we've got some dispensation for you if you get pulled over.
Let's put it this way. If a clear stretch of road appears and I'm in the right gear and the right revs, who knows if the front wheel's coming up or not?
Anything could happen, right?
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite racetrack that you've been to?
Yes, I would say in Europe. I mean, I did that World Ducati week this year.
Right.
That was a crazy track. Brands Hatch is an amazing track that was a track of my youth. But for me, Laguna Seca, because I did the 2-up ride with Randy round there.
Oh, I did the same thing. How scared were you?
Yeah, well, Randy raced against my uncle. And so we hit it off, and, I was saying to him, don't hold back, I'm blah, blah, blah. And no amount of PlayStation 3 is going to prepare you for some of those. The corkscrew, we all know about the corkscrew, but until you've been down it on a bike ridden by a world champion, you don't really understand it.
Yeah, I think when I did it, I was going into the corkscrew, and I had to resist the urge to punch him in the ribs.
Well, that's Paul. Be honest now. You have that urge to punch Randy in the ribs.
Well,
when you're riding next to him in a cab.
I mean, I've known him so long. I knew that he was going to take that little extra step to really try to scare me, and it turns out I wasn't wrong because we got around there pretty good, and I've done a lot of laps there myself, and it's like, wow. I mean, when that thing, as Billy would know, I mean, that thing's wheeling between every corner. And you're on the back, you're a little higher up above Randy's head, and it's a whole different perspective.
Oh, yeah.
But anybody who ever gets the chance to do that should definitely do it.
Absolutely. And the other thing that it gave me was a new respect for the racers at the highest level. Because, I mean, like I say, I've been round a track myself, and I know what going fast is all about. And I got off the back of that bike sweating and shaking, and I did one lap on the back. So how these guys are doing a full race distance riding that thing, they call themselves athletes, and they are absolutely that.
100%.
We're joined right now by Billy Morrison, rock star, motorcycle enthusiast, grew up on a bike, grew up playing guitar. But Billy, where do you spend time when you're not touring? Where's your permanent residence? And tell us what's in the garage.
Permanent residence is Los Angeles. And in the garage right now, because it does change, there's a lot of British in the garage. My car is a Jag, and I have a Speed Triple and a Tiger, both pretty tricked out.
That'd be Triumph Speed Triples and Triumph.
They will be
Tiger.
Triumph Speed Triple and a Triumph Tiger. I've been doing a lot of work with Triumph recently. They make fantastic bikes, and I own 2 of them. So
no 675 yet?
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to make 1,000. They've got to do it soon. So I have to watch the bum up, head down bikes for me, because I tend to ride them like that.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, I am that guy. I will admit, every lid that I own has a black visor on it, and it's that whole street hooligan thing. And when I get on one of those things, I'm not good for myself. They gave me, when I did some stuff with Ducati a few years ago, and they gave me a Desmo Sedici for an afternoon.
Oh, gosh.
And, even though it cost $75,000 at the time, and my head's going, don't drop it, I still couldn't resist it. So it proved to me that I own the right type of bikes for me.
Who's your normal riding group? When Billy Morrison goes out for a Sunday motorcycle jaunt, who's riding with you, and who can actually stay on your wheel?
Well, I feel really silly now because it's all name dropping, but it's just we go out and it's Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols and Billy Idol and Billy Duffy from the Cult and Danny Boy from House of Pain. That's my group. That's who we ride with. And Dan is fast. You know, I'll tell you what, Billy Idol is fast in a really steady way. He will just not let up. I hit a canyon and off I go, and I get to the end of it, and I look round, and there's Billy just sitting there behind me.
And see, that's the fantasy we want. We want to know he's hanging with you. What's it like for the general public when you guys roll into the In-N-Out Burger, for instance? I mean, it must be mind-blowing.
Most people are pretty cool. We did have to stop going to Malibu because that got a bit silly.
Yeah.
But you know, we head out. We do like 50 miles to get out of LA, and then we're hitting In-N-Outs and cafes, and no one really cares. They're like, hey, very cool people around here.
And what kind of modifications? I mean, if you're going out on a bike today, I know you're not a guy who's going to settle for what rolled off the showroom floor. Tell us how Billy Morrison sets up a Billy Morrison motorcycle.
I basically do it all when I buy the bike and don't pick it up until it's done. I cannot ride a stock motorcycle. You know, there's certain things that have to be done. All the mirrors and signals and license plate stuff need to be as small as possible. Get rid
taken
of
off.
Of it. Yeah, basically taken off. And all those silly reflectors on the forks, they go.
All that silly DOT, DMV stuff.
Yeah, anything that's legal pretty much goes. Then we add on to that, have to have a decent pipe. No bike that I've ever owned has had a stock pipe.
So who's our favorite pipe this week?
Right now, I just ordered. I have arrows on the Triumph Speed Triple, but I just ordered this thing, and it's on it from a company in France. I can't even remember. Oh, it's called SC Project, and no one had heard of them. And of course, I picked the one exhaust system that took about 4 months to get.
Of course.
But it's on there. It's a full race system carbon can on the Tiger, and I've customized the Tiger quite a lot. Completely new front end. It's like a 2-up sports bike.
Now, when you're out on the road, I've read some of your blogs and heard that you're the real deal through and through. Going to Europe, you're riding from show to show periodically, maybe all the time. Give us some background on that.
Yeah, we did that. I mean, the wonderful. I got to say, and I know I'm working with Triumph, but they really have gone above and beyond. I emailed them from somewhere in deepest, darkest Europe and said, look, we're going to Spain, and the tour schedule is such that me and Billy Idol and the bass player Steve McGrath and our security guard, we could ride from the gigs around, and forget the bus. And
Sure.
They delivered 4 Triumphs to the hotel in Bilbao, and we rode the length of Spain.
Nice.
Ended up in, I think it was Madrid, being pulled over by the Spanish police for riding up a pedestrian highway.
But you were able to negotiate your way out of that, no doubt.
Yeah, it was funny, though, because Billy took his helmet off and said, someone said, but this is Billy Idol, and the cop just went, I don't care.
Yeah, Broc Glover does that periodically.
Hardly.
Right, Broc?
Hardly.
Broc, you're back there.
Hardly.
I don't think so. I was, funny story about back in, it was in the 80s or so, Scott Burnworth, actually, I pulled into the Atlanta Motocross National, and Billy Idol was playing at the local venue, and I was trying to drum up come on, some of this guy, because I just called Scott Burnworth he was Team Suzuki at the time. I said, Scott, Billy Idol's in town, let's go. He was like, you got it, baby, let's go. I'm ready now. We went out and watched Billy Idol in concert. It was really fun, so I have to get out and watch another show here, because I was always a big fan of
Camp Freddy.
Yep, I know. Sounds like it. So, hey, Billy, a question for you is Camp Freddy. I mean, it almost sounds like something you would take, kids with cancer or something. But where did the name come from? It's something just curious for me.
Well, I mean, I take full responsibility. When we started, we just got asked to do one show in LA, and I thought it was just going to be one gig, a one-off, and I called Navarro and saw him and put this little lineup together. And my favorite movie is the original Italian Job with Michael Caine. And there's a character in that movie called Camp Freddy. He's a gangster. And so when the party promoters said, well, what's the band called? I just went to Camp Freddy, and it stuck.
Nice.
So 11 years later, we're still answering questions about, what is Camp Freddy?
And your shows, you're playing Give us the lowdown for December, because it's a December program, and you'll be in Los Angeles. What markets will we be going to with Camp Freddy?
We're just doing. We always do some Christmas shows at the Roxy Theatre and charge normal ticket price, cheap ticket price, $25 or $30, but we still bring the A game, and we're doing next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 2021, 22. Unfortunately, they are all sold out. But if you're anything like I was when I was a kid, there's always an open toilet window.
Always.
Or money solves a lot of things. Go up to a security guard and throw them some money. You can get in.
Wear your friend of Billy shirt, right?
All right.
There you go.
We're up against the clock right here.
Billy,
but
hang on with it.
We still want to hang on with Billy Morrison here. We got one more segment with him, and we're opening it up to you, our listeners. If you want to call the program, have a question for Billy, 877-792-1090, 858-457-1090. Again, that's 877-792-1090, 858-457-1090. Also, on the Facebook page, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to send it to us that way, and we can ask Billy for you. But one more segment with Billy Morrison coming up next on Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego Sports Leader, Double X 1090.
Welcome back to Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers.
On San Diego Sports Leader, Double X 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show. On the hotline right now, Billy Morrison. Rocker.
Hi, guys. Still here, still
Billy.
Very early in the morning.
Awesome.
How late? So where were you last night, Billy? Were you playing until about 2 hours ago?
No, I was actually racing go-karts.
Really?
Yes, a friend of mine had a birthday party and rented out a go-kart track in the valley. These things are ridiculous.
They are.
I feel like I've got about 9 broken ribs right now.
Don't go get it checked out. You do.
Yeah, I know.
Me. It's much more brutal than a motorcycle ride.
So,
Yeah.
Billy, I know you're a MotoGP fan. Do you get to many events?
Oh, again, not enough. I mean, obviously, when I was a kid, I was going to all the ones that my uncle was racing in, and got to see some really killer races. Also, the Transatlantic series that doesn't exist anymore, but I was there at the birth of that and watched all those, Roberts and
the match races
and all of that stuff.
I might have been there with you. We didn't even know it.
Paul was there, and the fact that the man who created that, Gavin Tripp, was he was at our home for dinner last night. The match races.
Listen to Rockstar over here.
The most amazing motorcycle series I've ever watched, because it was like an all-star race, and I was a kid, and it smelt great, and it sounded great, and it was loud, and it was just very life-changing for me. These days, I mean, my touring schedule again gets in the way. I did the whole of Europe this summer and didn't manage to match up one Grand Prix.
God, I want to be able to say that someday. Oh, sorry, my touring schedule got in the way.
No, trust me, I would give it anything. I'm trying to persuade the management to at least let me hit one, even if it's World Superbike, because
you got to get the
series this year was crazy.
You need to make sure you get the weekend off when it comes to Austin next year, because it'll be a new track, and it's just be real nice and be a good opportunity for you to get out there. Yeah.
I'm going to make it a point at least. I mean, 2 years ago I did Laguna, which was nice, and, I'll get there.
Right now, if you have a question for Billy, feel free to call us, 877-792-1090 or 858-457-1090. Let's head up to Scott in Boise, Idaho, who's got a question for you. Scott, what's going on?
Hey. Good morning, Billy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Being a guitarist myself, for fun, how did you get started on the guitar, and have you ever done any dirt bike riding, and how did you struggle or capture the F chord?
Well, first of all, I only started playing guitar because I kept crashing motorcycles, and that was obviously not a career for me. So the Sex Pistols came along in England and blew my mind, and that was it. The dirt bike racing, I'm getting a lot of invites. I haven't, and I think I would enjoy it. The guys from Arai Helmets were saying you've got to come out and do, Barber and all this stuff. It's just about finding time,
We're available. We've got a room full of dirt bikers here, and I
Here's
think
how you
Broc
get
Glover
me
could
dirt
provide
biking.
some instruction. Okay.
Here's how you get me dirt biking.
I'm taking notes.
Pin me down on a day where I've got nothing to do. Send a car, provide me with a bike, provide me with all the stuff to wear, and I'll be there.
It's just what exactly we have to do with Bobby.
Yeah, that's exactly on Bobby's program. Yeah, that's a done deal.
Well, we got another question for you, Billy. Let's head out to Philip in Temecula. Phil, go for it.
Hi, Billy. Big fan. Followed your work extensively for the last umpteen years. I'm a huge Colt fan, so
that makes me old.
Hey, it makes me old too. Really excited to talk to you. Like I said, big fan. Got a question. I don't know if it's been covered yet. You guys have really talked about a lot of things. Who was some of your racing fans growing up, whether it be motorcycles or even in the auto industry?
You mean my racing heroes?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, did you follow anybody? I mean, was there anybody?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was a huge Kevin Schwantz fan. He was the first guy that I saw that started wearing, like, crazy Alpine Star color boots. And I had to get those replica boots. I was also a John Kaczynski fan.
Oh.
Again, mainly because of his showy lid. You see, as a kid, you see these guys, and he had this cool eagle on his helmet, and that attracted me. And obviously, Barry Sheen. If I was to name one racer that was my ultimate hero, it would be Barry Sheen.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for taking my call, Billy. You have yourself a great day.
Absolutely. Thanks for following.
Take care of those ribs, too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Appreciate the phone call right there. If you want to weigh in, we still got a little bit of time here for Billy Morrison, 877-792-1090 or 858-457-1090. Let's head out to Guy in El Cajon. Guy, go for it.
Hello, Billy. It's Guy Mosher in El Cajon, Broc Glover's land.
Hey, Guy. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. It's a great show. It's awesome to have you on the radio. And we have a group out here the first Wednesday every month. We ride dual sport from Alpine up to Mount Lagunas and back. It's about a 90-mile rip in one day.
Nice.
Wow,
right.
nice.
That's good.
Billy could wheelie that entire distance.
Yes.
If you ever have the time, love to have you come by and check it out.
Well, finding the time is always the problem, but if it happens, fantastic.
We appreciate the phone call. He could probably do that with 3 girls on the back of him, too, wheeling the whole way.
He's probably only ever had 3 girls on the back. Every time he probably rides a motorcycle, there's probably 3 girls on the back.
That's
I
my
prefer
expectation.
my girls to be riding, actually.
There you go.
Equal up. Now, there's a guy who embraces the where the world is right now.
Have you seen what a bird looks like when she rides a motorcycle?
Incredible. Well, you said something about head down, bum up, but I'm not supposed to talk about that.
6'7" in my life.
He puts the girls on the sport bike.
Yeah.
To get the bum up. Get it?
Yes. Yeah. I get that. Wow.
All right, 877-792-1090 or 858-457-1090 as we continue to rack calls here for Billy Morrison on Bike Week Radio Show. Jameson in Fallvang. Jameson, go for it.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Morrison. Can you,
Hi,
first of all,
Hi, you sound cute. Where are you from?
Oh, here we go.
We're going to take a coffee break
California.
now.
We have great riding here in Solvang, California. But first of all, can you see how I see how totally cool and awesome you are?
Oh, please. Well, I happen to have ridden, thank you very much for the compliment, and I've ridden through Solvang. I think I was doing 120 at the time, but it looked nice.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that. That's
the place, is that the place with all the Dutch, European influence?
That's correct. Yes. Oh, that makes me so happy. Oh, I'm shaking like a leaf. I'm so happy. Now, my question is, what do I do when my motorcycle wobbles?
Buy another one.
Buy 2.
Well, I mean, let me ask you quick. Let me see if I can answer this in a technical fashion. At what speed is it wobbling?
Like 35, 45, it starts to wobble a little bit.
Yeah, I'd take that right back to the dealer and go, fix this.
Oh. Now, and my next question, what would be a great first starter bike for as you all have been saying, a bird like me with my bum up in the air? What would be a good starter bike?
Hey, you two get a room. Come on now.
For that.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's kind of like who's your favorite band, you know? But, I mean, Bonnevilles are great bikes to start on.
Okay.
I think
Great.
Triumph Bonnevilles are a great bike to feel safe. They, you know, they're good bikes. They're easy to maintain.
It won't wobble at 30.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then you go straight up to a 675 and get your bum in the air.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My
God
pleasure.
bless you.
Thank you for the call. We have a few more minutes here. If you want to call them, like we said, 877-792-1090, 457-1090. Lots of time still here. And we have Jason in La Costa. Jason, go for it.
Hey, how's it going? Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Jason, how you doing?
I apologize if you guys already covered it. I woke up late, but I was curious. You ever get Ozzy? I know you're friends with Ozzy. You ever get him out on a bike?
Oh, my God, you don't want to do that?
Yeah, that's terrifying just to think about it.
That is really a bad move. Oz does not need to be riding motorcycles, and he had that really bad accident a few years ago on a quad, so I don't think he'd want to ride two wheels either. I have, however, been in a Ferrari with Ozzy Osbourne.
Hopefully you were driving.
Let me tell you. I was. He was driving, and then he pulled over and he said, "You drive," which was a really good idea.
Yeah, fine idea. That's why you're still here talking to us.
That's why we're both still here.
Yes.
Billy Morrison joining us on Bike Week Radio Show. If you've missed any of his interview, you got to go back, bikeweekradioshow.com. We'll have the show podcast up later. And
I want to ask some guitar questions here,
Go
Billy.
for it.
I'm the proud recipient and owner of one of your fantastic Les Paul signature Billy Morrison guitars. Love the thing. It's a treasured piece in my quiver. What are you playing? You know, when a typical night out with Billy Idol and the band, how many guitars? I mean, I've seen you at Camp Freddy where I think you had 50 Les Pauls that you were sessioning through. But give me an idea. Your kit for the road.
Yeah, it depends what band. With Idol, I tour with 11 guitars, or the last tour, we had 11 guitars. Probably 7 or 8 of those are Les Pauls, and then there's a 335, a couple of acoustics in there. And then with Camp Freddy, it's all Les Pauls, probably 5 or 6 in the rack, because we do a bunch of different tunings and stuff. A lot of them are my model, just because it's my model. It's how I like a guitar to sound. But I did just get a new 2013 Les Paul Standard with split coil pickups, and that is a gorgeous guitar.
Nice. And what kind of, equipment-wise, when you guys are on the road and you're moving city to city to city to city, I mean, how big is your entourage? How many guys you have back there putting the thing together and making sure that you sound
it's
good?
big. I think there's something like 23 people in the entourage. There's a huge semi that hauls all the gear, and I mean, I've got to say, those guys, I don't know how they do it. You know, I'm very lucky. I show up at 4 in the afternoon and everything's set up and in tune. So I don't know how it works.
It just works.
That's the honest answer, but I know there's a lot of flashing lights behind me.
Nice.
We got one more question here from a listener. And by the way, we're getting more female callers than we've ever gotten. I don't think it's for me or Paul. I know it's definitely not for Scott.
No, we had to have a rock star on here
Yeah.
to actually get women to call in.
Imagine
What
that.
can I say, guys? Well, give me another woman.
Let's
Jenna
go.
in Riverside, you're on Bike Week Radio Show.
Hi, Billy. I'm a huge fan. Me and my
What's your
friend
name,
are
love?
listening to you. And
What's your name, love?
My name is Jenna.
Hi, Jenna. Nice to meet you.
Happy to be here. And I don't think anything goes better than a rock star on a motorbike.
Ooh.
So amazing.
Unless there's a hot chick on the back.
So we read on your Facebook that you're giving away a free T-shirt. How can we win that?
Aha.
Well, you see, if it was
Autograph.
up to me, you sound cute, and you're the only one that's mentioned it, so I'd just give it to you. But it's not up to me, so over to the guys.
Jenna, you just need to make sure you sign up online and participate in the online contest. But I think if maybe we can negotiate something with Billy.
Why don't you guys get her address, and I'll send her one anyway.
That's an awesome deal. Jenna, did you hear that?
Yes, I did. I'm so excited. I'm almost speechless.
Who's your favorite rock star this morning?
Billy Morrison.
That's right.
Correct. You win a T-shirt.
Thank you so much.
Congrats, Jenna. Sit on hold. We'll have our boy Tim back there get your information. And Billy, thank you so much. I mean, we're getting up against the clock, but we appreciate you so much for coming on. And one of these days when you're doing the San Diego tour stop, we got to have you in studio.
Got to.
Absolutely. I mean, when we do America next year, I'm sure we played San Diego last year. So next year, I'm sure we'll do it again. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Billy.
Of
really
course. And now you have a reason to come back to San Diego. I mean, I know there's a nice setup out here, but now you have Bike Week radio show you got to hit up when you're here.
We might have just been trumped by Jenna. He might be headed to Riverside.
Exactly.
I can't wait.
Thank you, Billy.
Well, Billy, we appreciate it, man. Get back to bed, have a nap. I know it's a busy day for you, busy week, and enjoy the touring. So, Billy Morrison, if you missed any of that interview, head to bikeweekradioshow.com. Check that out. It'll be up later today. And thank you again to our callers who called in and not cussing and not...
Imagine.
I know, right?
Wow.
The Rockstar fans, I thought for sure someone would have dropped an F-bomb
Bobby had his
out here.
finger on the big red button, too.
Yeah.
Didn't need to use it.
Why do I get the feeling that if a girl, the address she'd give us would be a P.O. box, don't you think?
That was fantastic. That was
fun.
Guy plays guitar, rides a bike, and's got a British accent.
living
Does
the life.
anybody else in this world have a chance against that guy?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, if you want your high further bum, just read his blog.
I grew up with a guy who was in a band, and it was like, I always wanted to be in the band. I wanted to he would never even let me have that thing where I just hit it on my leg. What's that thing called?
Tambourine?
Yeah. I thought, okay, I'd be in there. I'd have groupies and everything. Just
wasn't happening for you.
They just never let me in.
Between Billy and Broc Glover on the show, I mean, what are we? We're nobodies, We're a bunch of nothings here.
We're just working stiffs. That's why we're here every Sunday morning.